Ladies and gentlemen, Jimbo Fisher is out at Texas A&M. Word came down this morning. We all woke up, go to bed with a 51 to 10 win. Wake up this morning and Jimbo Fisher is fired and no longer the coach at Texas A&M. What a weird time this is. Per the board meeting on Thursday, it seems the decision was made as announced by Billy Lucci. Wow. Wow. Incredible timing. I haven't been wrong about a great many things, at least not wildly wrong. I do take some pride in trying to be very even kill, but I will say it looks like I got this one quite a bit wrong. Although I guess I'm technically in the area, but outlook was a big deal. I thought that it would take something really big to amass the amount of money it was going to take to send him on his way. That's why I thought that losing to Texas, maybe missing out on the playoff next year would actually drive that kind of dough. But it seems that we had that already in the coffers and a plan ready for that. And you've got to be somewhere in the know to have that. So I'm not going to fault myself too much for that one. But the fact of the matter is that it's a year and a week early from when I thought it would be possible to have that done. I guess people are fed up. Right? The questions that we talked about last night, if you caught last night's reaction, some very, very tough questions to answer within that entire result. Because, yeah, we won big, but it opened up a big can of worms. For instance, was Max going to start this next week against ACU, or would it be Jalen? You mean to tell me we've had Jalen on the bench this entire time that could do this? We've had the ability to change our game plan the whole time, and we've been waiting? What was Jimbo thinking? What was he thinking? Maybe could have seen the signs though on this one because, and as mentioned a couple times, um, the win last night was very odd. I mentioned that it felt like Franchione in 2007 playing Texas. We go again ground and pound all year long, and then all of a sudden we're going to just air it out against Texas, and we end up winning that game. It just comes out of nowhere, and of course then we fire a friend. And at the time, if you're around at the time, people were they're scratching their head. It's like, we're going to do it now after the win. And I guess with Jimbo here, a very similar type of situation where we pull out all the stops, kind of pull out all the stops, mix the entire game plan up, tailor it to the quarterback finally. So that's what we've done. If you're just now tuning in, you're listening to the AggieCentral podcast, do a lot of this stuff each week, and I'm happy to have you here with me. If you'll see, I've got the little money sign over here. That's how much this channel has made since getting over 1,000 subs. Apparently, YouTube starts paying you at some point. I put that there because it's just such a very insignificant amount of money that I don't really care about it. And I'm going to make a point with it about this whole thing. It's just such little, it's not going to ever, really pay my bills. I do this for fun. But when that amount gets up to $1,000, I'm going to give it away to students. So, but I mention that because I'm not beholden to anybody on this channel. So I want to give you a reason to subscribe. A lot of times I'll ask you to, and to help support the channel and this and that. Rarely do I give a reason. I want to give you a reason though today. I'm not beholden to anybody. Nobody's advertising with my channel. I'm not in with any donors. No university officials are talking to me. So I'm not withholding anything in these, and I will not withhold anything. This is not going to be a PC reaction. I am not happy about a lot of different things. Let's be clear. Who is firing Jimbo today? Who? It's not Ross Bjork. He's not firing him. And likewise, that means he's not going to be doing the hiring either. Who's doing that? The Board of Regents is doing that. You hear anybody else talking about that? I did a whole piece on Scott Woodward. He was the facilitator of how Jimbo got in here. Yes, the AD has something to do with all this. The Board of Regents is what actually writes the check. So there's a lot of accountability to go around. We can talk about Jimbo all day long, and we'll get to his legacy. That is coming up because that legacy, feel sorry for the man because he's going to be leaving with a legacy that's not going to be kind to his future prospects, in my opinion. But the Board of Regents going to make the next hire. They hired Fran, they hired Sherman, they hired Sumlin, they hired Jimbo. When are they going to get the job right? I know it's been different people each time because people come in, people go. But just as Scott Woodward was spending our money, he was spending UW's money, and now he's over there spending LSU's money. They're spending our money. They're right now, I don't know, a $70 million check, $30 million or something. I don't know, some crazy numbers due like in 30 days, in a month. And then we're going to be paying this guy out, and who else we're going to bring in. Let me talk to you about a tweet from Colin Cowherd. Now, look, I'm no Cowherd fan, but my goodness, this tweet, if it's lost on us, then I fear for the future. I really do. He says, A&M is firing a highly compensated coach and will be bringing in a highly compensated coach. To what end? What would it matter? Think about that. This is speaking to something below the surface. If this is continuing to happen, I mean, Josh Pate said it, I don't know, a month ago. He said everything is in place at A&M. There are no external factors, is what he's pointing to. He said Mizzou has external factors limiting them. He says A&M has no external factors. He said it's all from within. All from within. And we think this is just Jimbo? Do we really? Just Jimbo? I don't think so. Don't think so. This goes all the way to anybody that's carrying water for these decisions. Now, I can't fault somebody making a take like, I saw somebody trying to blow up Billy Lucci for saying that, when we hired Jimbo, that we were bringing in somebody who could develop talent and, somebody who had a track record for doing that. And he was wrong about that. And in this business, as I've already pointed out for myself, you can be wrong in those kinds of things. You can't hold somebody terribly accountable for that. But what I have heard is on the post-game show, callers being shut down for things they don't want to be talking about. So that accountability is a problem, because that's one of Coach Fisher's problems is accountability. It's his way or the highway when it comes to the approach to the game. This is part of his legacy, that he wanted to play the game. He wanted to win it his way, right? And so he would not budge in that way. But was he allowing, say, complacency within his program? Did he not bring the fire? Did he not have the urgency? You bet. You absolutely bet that. So accountability was light for him. Where's the accountability for those that are putting these coaches into place and are, quote unquote, hiring them, searching for them? They deserve some too. They deserve some too. You can't just sit in those spots and say, well, we just did this and we did that. Blame it all on Jimbo. That is definitely not fair. But Jimbo's legacy will be what it is. In the end, it comes down to this. He couldn't develop talent, especially at QB. He couldn't win close games consistently. We saw that this year. He's won a few in the past. Yes, we'll give that to him. But with the talent and the circumstances in which he's been given everything, he's asked for a supercharger, he was given the supercharger. He wanted slicks on the car, he was given slicks. He wanted the best driver that was out there, he was given the best driver. He was given everything, and he couldn't make it work. So that's going to be his legacy. That will ultimately be his legacy. I wish it would have worked out for him. I don't understand the timing again, just because. Did you not want him to finish out the year? But maybe we've already got somebody on deck. Obvious candidates. Okay, this is actually getting into part 3 of the whole series about replacing Jimbo, and we haven't really talked about the who. There are some names already out there floating. We'll go ahead and start with probably who's going to be taking over the program for the next few games into the postseason, and that's probably Coach E. Rob. It probably serves acting interim. At least that's what things are pointing to from those that, have the inside track. And I'm fine with that. I'm great with that. I'm here to give you my opinion, not, give you the scoop. I like Coach E-Rob a lot, very much. Is he head coach worthy? I don't know. We'll have to think about that, talk about that. He's not one that was previously on the list. Now, the most obvious candidate, in my opinion, should be the one with the cred already on the table that's in house, and that's Petrino. I don't know where I'm at with the thought about that, but if it's going to come down to the end of the season and finishing out the season, it was definitely a thought that he might be one that was going to take over the duties. Right? He's already got head coaching experience, and he put together a game plan yesterday. Probably finally the keys were taken away from Jimbo, and he got to do what he wanted. So why not let him finish out the year in that way? Okay, so maybe they'll give him a look. There's a couple other names that jump just right out at us, and that's Elko over at Duke, former defensive coordinator for us. Maybe he wants to make it over. I don't know. Some people say Dan Campbell, head coach for the Lions, former Aggie. And I like Dan Campbell. So I'm gonna camp out on this one for a little bit. I don't think it's that likely, but I want to camp out on him because I think in anything that the Board of Regents does, and anything that the media outlets are going to talk about and put out there is replacement hires. They've got to think about what it is that we need. And so I just want to look at Dan Campbell and kind of think about the real most basic and intangible things that he brings to the table that is helping Detroit be so successful. Okay? One, and this is something that resonated with me all the way back to last year's championship game. Kirby Smart knew how to bring the fire. Dan Campbell knows how to bring the fire. That guy is a motivator. That's my first thing. Second is he loves his guys. Okay? The best thing about Jimbo was that he was a player's coach. They really like him. I think they were frustrated by him because they knew there were some factors holding them back, namely with him just continuing to force a square peg in a round hole and trying to get it done the way that he wanted to get done. So they were frustrated with that, but they loved him, and he loves them back. So I like that part, and Dan Campbell's got that, and that's what his guys they go into battle with him because of that reason. And I think that's why you've seen our guys not quit, because they were behind it. So that's got to be a big criteria right there. All right, bring the fire, love your guys. Okay, those are my two of my top three. My third one is this, and this one kind of branches out just a little bit, but from what I can tell, Dan Campbell gets out of the way. He lets his guys work, and he removes himself from muddling the process. You've got professionals and experts on the team. He's made good hires, okay? So he's put the guys in place at offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and then let those guys work throughout, okay? Jimbo, in my opinion, has not done that. He let Petrino come in, and he still did not give him the reins. He continued to meddle in the game plan, and we saw what happened yesterday when the game plan was just completely given over. Not to mention, you finally gave Petrino a quarterback and let him operate with the quarterback in the way that he wants to do, right? I forget the quarterback he had over at Louisville at the moment. But Jalen, really fit that bill a lot better. Connor joked if, he was like that guy, and Petrino would say, kind of joke back, no. But I think Petrino could have done a lot more with the game plan with Connor rather than, say, for instance, Max. And here we are still trying to do with Max what we've been trying to do for the last few years. And it worked for a time, right? But Jimbo's downfall, just like Sumlin's downfall, and Sumlin's a very interesting case study because he was very much of a different offense, much more like you would see from Petrino, but completely opposite of Jimbo's. We loved Jimbo's at first because we were going to be incorporating the tight end, whereas Sumlin had just not done that. But Sumlin ran all this, kind of spread concepts and this and that, and ultimately he continued to stick with that and not adapt. And that's what Jimbo's done. That was Sumlin's downfall too, not adapting, not changing things up. He just tried to continue doing the exact same thing. Look at what Nick Saban's done. We just talked about this last week about how he's taken the offense and he's molded it around Milroe. Milroe, no, that guy is nobody special on the board, but he's worked it to suit his strengths. And then his teams don't go out and beat themselves, which Jimbos have done time and time again. So Dan Campbell is a very interesting idea about how do you go about identifying the next coach. Jeff Traylor's been floated out there, the head coach for UTSA. Some people really like that one, some don't. One that people are really high on, though, it's tough to say how feasible this would be, but it's Dan Lanning, I believe the Oregon head coach, who's made a splash up there, is doing well. Can we get that guy? Tough to say, y'all. Interesting names to be looking at. It's going to be tough sledding for a little bit. This was not something that I wanted to go through. I did not want to start this process over. I do not want to see what's going to happen in the transfer portal. Maybe this will help keep it together. I think ultimately what has driven this decision in large part is what makes me halfway right on my prediction, though, is that game next, Thanksgiving or whenever we're going to play Texas has driven this decision to say we've got to get in front of this. We've got to get on top of this. And they've seen enough from Jimbo to think that he is not going to have us ready for that game. So they want to do it now to get somebody ready for this game. Josh Pate thinks that it's a turnkey situation. Put the keys in, turn it, and go. You win a championship overnight with this type of program. The players and the facilities, you just need the right people in place to drive. So I guess we decided we were going to find us a new driver. And they better do a good job of it. It's on them to find the right driver. You understand that, right? I think the media outlets, the traditional ones, understand that, right? They need to find the right one. It's on them. So why keep listening to this channel? Because I'm gonna keep hammering that. If it's Jimbo's fault for not getting the players, then it's the Board of Regents' issue for not finding the right coach. It's their job. They should hold that accountability. All right, y'all. We'll continue talking about this. There's going to be a lot more, I'm sure. More come out as coaches' names start to get dropped out. And hey, we'll deal with it as it comes. Appreciate you joining me. If you want to help the channel out and get some of this out so that we can do more with this, it's just a little old channel. I'm having fun with it. I don't care about the money in the first place. That's why I'm just going to give all that away when it gets there. But comment, like, share. Share it with your friends. If somebody's going to, talk about, who needs to actually hold the accountability, I'm happy to do it. No one's calling me up and saying, hey, you can't talk about that. No one's, there's no implied pressure that says, no. That's not where we're going to go, right? No one funds me. So that's something you're interested in, then help it out. We'll do it together. We'll do as much as we can, and we'll continue to be here throughout the entire process, y'all. So that's it for now. As always, thanks and gig 'em. We're Aggies till the day we die.